Economists love to talk about how free trade is a win-win, but we also know very specifically who the losers are going to be within any country when one has freer trade. The burden for improving the welfare of the developed world has fallen very often on those within the U.S. who could least afford it. And specifically, I'm talking about low-skilled manufacturing labor. They're the ones who've been losing their jobs. So economists will sometimes talk about the fact that NAFTA created jobs in Mexico even if we lost some jobs in the U.S. This is exactly the kind of thing that I believe tilted the Electoral College in Trump's favor. They have catered their policies towards their donor base with globalization. We have seen that very often the people who have suffered are their voter base. And I believe that Bernie Sanders understood this, and he wasn't dependent on the same donor base that the Democratic Party was.
Secretary Clinton supported virtually every one of these disastrous trade agreements written by corporate America. Invest in this country, not in China, not in Mexico.
I believe Trump also understood this and was able to speak very directly to those voters that the Democrats had alienated because they put into place increasingly freer trade, which specifically had the effect of taking many jobs away from the manufacturing sector in this country.
Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country.
I believe that free trade really is good for the world, and it can be good for the U.S. The question is, how do we handle it? We need to be able to figure out how to transfer some of the benefits that folks within America are getting from free trade to those who are losing out, so that we don't shut our borders, so that we are open to the rest of the world, so that we can support the development that we're seeing in China and India and the rest of the world that comes with free trade. Unfortunately, that last piece, the redistribution piece, is the piece that usually ends up on the cutting floor after trade policies have been negotiated. So if politics is the art of the possible and economics is the art of the efficient, one has to ask the question of what is the most efficient solution we can achieve that is politically feasible. And so it may be that tariffs in fact are the only politically feasible way to achieve the ends that the populist base is trying to achieve. If you look at the counties that voted for Obama and then voted for Trump, there is a considerable overlap between those counties and the places that are suffering from the opioid epidemic. For the first time in history in a developed country, we've seen life expectancy rates start to decline for white, middle class, and working class Americans. These are the people who have shifted from being part of the Democratic base to voting for Trump. It'll be interesting to see if the Democrats understand how important it is for them to really reach out to their traditional base and to indicate that they understand the costs of the globalization policies that they've been pursuing. I believe that we are seeing something of a restructuring within the Democratic Party, but I think that there is still a battle between different forces within it, and it remains to be seen who's going to win out in that. There actually has been a huge loss of manufacturing jobs specifically to China since China joined the WTO. The game theory in this situation is very interesting and also very difficult to predict, but we see each person trying to move their pieces on the board to see how they can best game the system.
It would be with regret, but it would be with absolute certainty and firmness that we move forward with retaliatory measures, applying equivalent tariffs to the ones that the Americans have unjustly applied to us.